Hello all, welcome back to Consciousness Rising. It's been ages since I've done a video, and I've had three prepared for ages. My workload has been absolutely just mad, but good. I'm getting to do really good work that I enjoy, work that hopefully is empowering. And yeah, if you want to choose a career, you got to choose one that you enjoy and it brings you that deep sense of meaning, I think. And I've done that. I've chose a career that brings me a lot of joy, and I feel like I'm living in harmony with my dharma, which I've spoke about before. I really think that's important for people to grasp. Do a job you enjoy, and you'll never work a day in your life. My father-in-law says that. But yeah, this one's a one I've been wanting to do for a while because it's something I notice a lot in a lot of so-called truthers, and it's called the psychological trap of waking others up. Because many are stuck in that, and that's all they live and breathe, and it's really well, it's up to them if they want to live their lives like that. But you'll notice in my videos, I've never ever asked any of you to share anything of mine. I think you come to it when you're ready, and if you found my work and you get something from it, then that's all that I want. I do this because it's as much for me as it is for others. It is for others, obviously, and if some people resonate with it, that's brilliant. And if it's changed people's lives, then great. And if it's led you to go on and research some of the great names I think about, even better. Because there's nothing new under the sun. Anything that's needed to be said has already been said. I just like to condense, put my thoughts down into video format and offer them for free to the world. Don't want nothing for these other than, just sharing some thoughts and ideas with people to inspire. Or not. You might hate my work, but that's fine. But yeah, I never ask anything of anyone. I respect everyone's right to individuality. So this is the psychological trap of waking others up. I don't think it'll be very long, but I'm just going to go through these slides. Okay. Nature and spiritual evolution. Because I've put here, spiritual evolution is a deeply personal thing that happens by nature. Okay, some of the things I've grasped in my life, I would not have been able to grasp if I wasn't at a certain level of awareness. And I know that we're all completely different and unique, and we're all at different steps on the road, and that's the way I see it. And I've showed that before. That chart on the left, it's the map of consciousness by David R. Hawkins. I'm not asking you to believe in it, but I think it's an interesting concept. If you read his work, you'll understand what it is. And he talks about these levels of consciousness, and that everyone's at a different level. Someone who's in shame, for instance, right at the bottom there, it might take them a bloody lifetime to get out of shame and just get to the point of maybe grief or fear. They are not going to grasp a lot of these deep concepts that a lot of these truthers talk about, and actually a lot of truthers talk a lot of bollocks anyway. But yeah, spiritual evolution is a deeply personal thing, and it happens by nature. It cannot, as I've put there, be forced by another, as it involves a personal life path that is individual to each soul's journey. I know that to be true. Like I said, the thing, yes, there has been some synchronicities in my life that have led me to deeper levels of awareness, but I wouldn't have been ready for that if I weren't at a certain level. Each one is like a stepping stone to the next, and the stuff that I'm into now is a very deep level, and I probably wouldn't have been ready for some of that even maybe 10 years ago. The stuff I'm reading now, and onto now. But yeah, this is what I really want to hammer home. Waking up involves a certain type of mindset that most people sadly do not have because of their conditioning. Because you have to unfuck yourself before you come into this life, and I've said that before with the superego. You get your parents, you get your authoritarian figures, and you get lost. You get completely lost, and you lose yourself, your sense of identity and uniqueness, and that's what happens to most people. They are part of a herd. Waking up is a deeply personal and individual path. Waking up involves the deconstruction of all falsity in the pursuit of truth. Now, that's why most people aren't ready to do that, because we are dealing with trauma here as well. As I've said, trauma is very, very centered to my work, and Michael Tsarian, he brings in another level to it, because I very much deal with people's individual trauma, especially when I help them in therapy. But he brings another level to it where he's saying that actually there is ancestral trauma. Now, if you learn about the collective unconscious from people like Carl Jung, you'll understand that. Now, that's the kind of thing I'm onto at the moment, and I think that most people aren't ready for that. But that's fine. That's absolutely fine. They might not be ready for it in this lifetime. That's fine. But deconstruction of all falsity in the pursuit of truth, having zero tolerance for the lie, most people aren't ready to do that. They're not ready to deconstruct all the falsity that's been given to them. And I put that in. I found this the other day. I thought it was brilliant. Sometimes being on a different frequency from someone means no matter what you're saying, that person just can't hear you. Okay, because they're not developed. Their consciousness isn't developed enough to hear it. And I'm not. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you don't put videos out like this if you want to do it like I do. But I'm very aware that this work isn't for everyone. This path isn't for everyone. They're not ready yet. Just as a child isn't ready to hold down a job, it's stepping stones. But we tend to see things just in our limited sort of blinkers sometimes, and I think we need to broaden our horizons when we think about life and the universe and consciousness, because it's boundless. Marcus Sorin nailed it here. He says, you are not meant to impose upon them or force them, because that's an act of violence upon their consciousness. They are where they need to be, as you are where you need to be. Them to talk to you and turn you away from the way you are is an act of psychic violence. You to take them out of their ignorance is an act of psychic violence. Neither one is justified. And I completely agree with him. There are some people that are not going to get it. And that's fine. You move on. You don't waste your energy, because I see so many people getting so emotionally connected to it, connected to spreading the truth and waking people up, and it's ridiculous. I'll have to admit, I was there at one point. I was in that exact same worldview, but I know it's toxic now. I've learnt that you know you can't. It happens by nature. Some people are ready for it, some people aren't. What's happening in the world right now with all this COVID nonsense? People are starting to become quote unquote aware, but they're not. That's not awakening. Awakening isn't just learning about one falsity that you've been given. It's learning about all of them, and not just the ones in society, the ones that are in your psyche. And that's why most channels won't talk about psychology like I do, because psychology, I believe, is the answer. Most people don't want to do that work. They don't want to address the shadow. That's why I go on about the shadow work so much, because you're deconstructing the lies, but also the parts you've suppressed to please other people who know better anyway. You know, and I think he absolutely nails it there. That statement is brilliant. Symptoms of these certain individuals, right? What it does, if you get emotionally just wanting to wake people up, spend all your life doing that, is it's going to breed despondency. And I think the powers that should not be, they know damn well that that's what's going to happen, and they love you to waste your energy going around trying to wake people up. It's not going to happen. They know it's not. Um, and as I put there, waste your own personal energy. There's so many more things you could do with your personal energy. Get involved in an act of creation. Go out and sit with nature and get in touch with yourself. Don't waste your energy on people that aren't going to get it. That's just ridiculous. Also, yeah, I've noticed so many people, like, they become so deadly serious. They don't even understand humour. Because, I'm too busy waking people up to understand your jokes. Well, remember what I said in the full card. Maybe enlightenment isn't just about being serious, it's about becoming playful as a child again. Not all life has to be so damn serious. It's like, people, they're like, oh, I'm sick of hearing all this COVID nonsense. It's like, turn the telly off then. But then I think that the bloody alternative movement are just as bad for this, because they like to sell the fear as well. Oh, they're going to inject us with chips, this, that, and the other. Oh, for God's sake. You're already chipped. It's called a bank card. You know, you don't need to put it under your skin. You're carrying it around with you, and on your cell phones. Oh, come. Anyway, I'm going off track. Stop noticing nature's beauty. That for me is very, very, very key. I think so many people are disconnected from nature, and that does go into Tsarian's theory on antithesis to nature because of a deep-seated trauma in our ancient past. I'm not going to touch on that in this video, but I think that's why, I was doing those videos where I was going out and walking, because I know the beauty of nature, and I know that when I feel more connected to nature, I'm in fact more connected to myself, because they both are one. We are nature. I've said that before. You don't just spring. You come from nature. You're part of it. You're part of this web of life. And I think the more time you spend disconnected from it, it can lead to despondency as well, and then feeling depressed and things. And go out into nature's energy. Go hug a tree. Go sit by a tree. Go out by the seaside, and stop the internal chatter. Too much internal chatter. Be at peace. And yeah, I've put there, can become obsessional in an unhealthy way. I've seen so many people in the so-called truth movement become like that. That's all they ever do, and that's all they ever go on about. Don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place, but there's also a time for fun. There's a time to, you know, spread joy, spread aware, spread love, and being, first of all, love yourself. Get rid of all the shit and conditioning, and get attuned to yourself. Don't become obsessed with waking other people up. I don't even talk about a lot of the things, especially with my family, because they don't get it, and I have to accept that they don't get it, and they're not gonna get it. And yeah, to a degree, I've tried. I've tried to explain things from a different angle, but what you'll get off a lot of people is you'll get emotional responses rather than intelligent. And I've always said, haven't I? You can't think with emotions. It just doesn't work that way. So you're wasting your time. You are wasting your time. You shouldn't become obsessional about it in an unhealthy way. Like I've said, people like this are no better, as I've written there, no better than a religious individual. You're trying to get everyone else to the way you think. Well, life's not like that, I'm afraid. And yes, don't get me wrong, I've done my video on natural law to, put out the objective truth and the morality that's there. But don't go running around getting people to think how you think. They are a unique individual. Okay, step out of herd think, as I've put there, because also, as I've also read, you are undermining a person's individuality, and that's something that should never be, tramped on. Never, ever, ever trample on someone's individual personality and their individuality, because that's what makes them unique. And it's when we go to herd think and we go into these bloody crowds, and we lose our spark, our in what makes us unique, and that's why I'm all for getting away from the bloody crowd. My life, I mainly spend with just me and my partner. That's it. And you know what? That's how I'm happy. I spend a lot of time on my own as well actually, and I think it's very beneficial. And I'm at peace with myself. And most people aren't ready to get there. That's because that takes work. But yeah, we are unique individuals, and every snowflake is a complete individual. Every leaf is unique and individual. We don't want everyone to come around to the way we think. Waking up also includes recognizing one's own unique self, as I've put there. And I think that picture encapsulates it. Walking away from the crowd and institutions. I hate labels. I even when I was very young, when I was a kid, I always hated labels, because to me that's boxing your consciousness in, and it's saying I am that now, and I'm not. I'm not anything other than this label. You know. And there's so many bloody labels in there. I mean, you can be this, you can be that, you can be left wing, right wing. Well, I've already deconstructed that crap, but I don't like any labels. I'm just me, because there's a deeper layer to me. I'm not. I'm not. I do counselling as a role, as a job, as I've said in my videos. I'm more than that. I'm not just a counsellor. I enjoy movies. I enjoy having a laugh. I enjoy dark humour. I enjoy playing the guitar occasionally. I enjoy a lot of heavy metal music. People are very complex. They're more than just their labels. And when the problem is when people become attached to their labels, it's like ego identification. I am this, I am that. No, not at the deepest level. You're not. That's just the mask you wear. That's the persona as such. Crowds and institutions, yeah. When does the crowd's never been right? And all these, these protests and things. I don't agree with any of them. Like, if you want to go and protest, that's up to you. But wait, you're wasting your time. Wasting your time. Turn away from all that shit. That's what I do. But I'm not here to steer people into where they want to be. But this is my thoughts on why people get stuck in that mindset of trying to wake others up, and it's not healthy. Another brilliant quote by Michael Tsarion. I've been very, very much into his work lately, and I think he's the greatest scholar of our time. I think potentially. There he puts there, psychologically and emotionally, you need nothing from others. What you require must be brought up from within. You don't need anyone else. You are everything that you need, and you have all the answers. I've often found that, and that's what I like about counselling as well, because counselling is a way to help others find their own answers. I don't give people answers. I help guide them to it. That's very different to just going, oh, you should do this, you should do that, which is what a lot of family members do, don't they? If you get in a bind and you talk to your parents or whatever, they're like, oh, maybe you should try this, maybe you should try that. That's not empowering. That's telling them what to do. I'm completely against that. I don't tell anyone what to do. I just put out my videos how I see fit, and if people take them, then great. If they don't, then that's fine by me too. I don't think I've ever, I might be wrong, but I don't think I've ever asked anyone to share any of my videos, because that's up to you. I respect your right and your individuality to whether you do that or not. And then you often hear me talk about art. I think art's a beautiful thing, and I often encourage clients to get involved in some sort of creative art, because I know how powerful it is. And then Terence McKenna, I think, really nails it here. He says, the artist's task is to save the soul of mankind, and anything less is a dithering while Rome burns. If artists cannot find the way, then the way cannot be found. What a profound quote that is. I think art is, what I love about art so much is it comes from the individual. David Lynch, he's a film director, and if you watch one of his films, you'll think, well, they're very, very bizarre. And yes, they are on one level. But he spoke about his art once, and he said that when people go to see a painting, everyone will take their own unique thoughts and ideas and feelings away from it. So therefore, art itself is very subjective. So, and that's a beautiful thing. And if you watch his films, actually, that talk about broaden your consciousness, try and watch his films, because they do speak to your right brain. They don't give you all the answers. They're not like the typical, this happens, then this happens, then this happens. His films are very, very bizarre when you watch them. They're very, very symbolic, and they're very strange. However, your brain will try and piece it together, and you'll take something unique away from it, and you might find a different meaning in it than what I would. And that is why art is so powerful. It is a unique expression from the self. And I think McKenna really nails it there. And also, the greatest art piece that you'll ever work on is yourself. Your own life. Be your own artist to your own life. Create. You are your own creator. You're in conjunction with the universe, but you're creating your own life. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think that's what we're here to do. We're here to create ourselves. And actually, the last quote I've got here, this next quote before I get it up, I think, apart from know thyself, this might be the greatest quote ever written, and that's how much I love this quote. Thomas Sars. This quote is amazing. People often say that this or that person has not found himself, but the self is not something one finds, it is something one creates. I think that's absolutely brilliant, and I think about that quote a lot, and I think he's nailed it. When he's talking about the self, he's talking about the soul. They're the same thing. You hear the word self used a lot in psychology, but they're talking about the soul. It's not something you find, you create it. And that's why creation and art is so important. And I'd much rather spend my energy and time and resources on creating a piece of art or creating something in my own world that's mine and comes from me, comes from my soul, than get trapped into waking people up who really aren't worth it and they're not going to get it. You know? Just some thoughts. The next one I do might be on symbolic literacy. I've got one ready. Just need to record it on symbolic literacy, and then I'm going to break down a scene from Lord of the Rings, using to go alongside that symbolic literacy. I've got literacy video. I've got one on Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to show you an example of why I think films are so important. I think that many people say, "Oh, turn the telly off, get rid of your telly." I don't agree. I don't agree at all, actually, because yeah, there is a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of things in movies where they're trying to sway you to a certain way of thinking or whatever, brainwashing, call it what you want. But like I said about mind control, my mind control series, once you know how mind control works, you can't be mind controlled. Well, it's the same deal with movies and entertainment. And actually, there are some movies that have some profound spiritual truths in them. So that's going to be in my next couple of videos. I think I'll do the symbolic literacy one next, which is just really dipping your toe in the water for symbolic literacy. And then after that, I'll do my Lord of the Rings scene breakdown, which I'm really, really pleased with. So yeah, there's a lot coming up, guys. But take care. See you in the next one.